Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 17 of season 2 of the F1 2018 Williams Road to Glory Career Mode. But today we're here at the Japanese Grand Prix, and this season is really starting to, almost come to a close really. I think we've only got, what, 4 races to go after this one. Kimi Räikkönen could also be crowned a world champion in this video as well, for those of you that didn't check out the Russian Grand Prix last time out. I would highly recommend doing so. A little bit of an issue going into this one, unfortunately, free practice and the, well, sort of like the intro to the whole race decided it would corrupt, which was not really ideal for me on the whole, but hopefully, it doesn't really take too much out of the action. But we would move then straight into qualifying for this Grand Prix. Really looking forward to this one. I absolutely love driving around. The new remodeled Japan is very good fun. But on to my first qualifying run, and Perez has just decided I don't deserve any track space there, so we'll gloss over that. But coming towards the end of that run anyway, still be good to set in a fairly decent banker. Coming down in through 130. We've ran a little bit wider, dip a wheel on the AstroTurf, and that is not how we wanted to start this Japanese Grand Prix weekend there. That has been a monster crash going through 130. Let's have a look back at that. I think all we did was just, where there's a little bit of a dip in the middle of 130, I think we just ground out the rear of the car. You can see, yeah, just dip the wheel on the Astro as well. It's just completely bottom out on the rear end there. I think we actually made a tiny bit of contact with Sergio Perez as well there, but that is a huge crash. I think it was about 170 on entry, and as you can just see there, yeah, just clipping Sergio Perez. We actually sent him off, slightly off in the air as well there, but Kimi Räikkönen would go through fastest in Q1 here. But unfortunately for me, that is us out of qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix. That all happened so quickly there, but it will mean we will now be effectively doing a last question mark challenge for the Japanese Grand Prix, as well as the fact, obviously, because of this, we will stick a fresh engine in the car. There is no logic in not doing so. We may as well try and take the fresh engine, just focus on capitalising in the race. But based on Lance's pace as well, it doesn't seem like we're in for a particularly good weekend, which is a bit weird. Overall, I think Japan, obviously, with the new remodeled layout, it is quite a chassis-based circuit now rather than aerodynamics. It's a lot about trying to keep the car quite stable, which is very frustrating on the whole for us. But, we're still focusing on trying to get that chassis up towards the end of this season. There's still a lot to do on this car, because obviously, for those of you that did miss out on the Russian Grand Prix, we have got no rule changes going into Season 3. It is just a straight battle now of trying to get the car ready for Season 3. And with all the upgrades we have got going on at the moment, we are certainly now shaping ourselves up to be one of the best cars going into the new season. We are right there with Mercedes and Red Bull in terms of theoretical pace. Realistically, we're still more of a midfield runner. We do have a very strong aero package, but unfortunately that doesn't win you world championships in itself. We've still got quite a bit to go on the chassis, as well as a little bit on the engine as well here. But let's move on then into the Japanese Grand Prix, all moving quite quickly coming into this weekend, but it's always best to jump straight into the deep end and right into the proper action. So here we are then at the Japanese Grand Prix, obviously a track that has decided many world titles in the past, and Kimi Räikkönen could make himself a 2-time world champion coming out of this Grand Prix. All he needs to do is win the race and hope that his teammate Sebastian Vettel comes third or lower, and then the gap will not be, well, it physically cannot be closed back down. It'll be 101 points going into the final 4 rounds of this season. But although it doesn't quite need to be wrapped up today, I'm sure Kimi Räikkönen would like to just get it guaranteed. Considering Seb, the dominance that he showed at the start of this season, no driver has ever won the first 3 rounds of a world championship and then not gone on to win the world title. Yet Seb won the first 4 and looks like he's still, it's highly unlikely he won't be able to do it leaving by the end of the season. I think it's more a matter of time now that Kimi Räikkönen claims this world championship, not a case of if, really, as we move into the Japanese Grand Prix. But last year's race would see the Finns of Bottas and Räikkönen win the race ahead of Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Perez, and K-Mag, and we come down in P12. But Seb would try and, help himself as much as possible there. Pole position over Sergio Perez by just half a tenth. Hamilton and Räikkönen on row 2, Sainz and Ocon row 3. Bottas not having a good job out down in 7th there, with Alonso 8th and Ricciardo and Alonso rounding out the top 10. My teammate Lance Stroll would just go to show how much this Williams is really struggling around this circuit, all the way down in P15, and we'd be starting right at the rear of the field as we move into this Japanese Grand Prix.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So it is going to be a fairly textbook one-stop Grand Prix coming into this one. You know, a softs onto a set of the medium tyres here. But I was considering trying to do a set of softs onto a set of supers towards the end of the race, but it just didn't seem viable, in all honesty, as we come into this Grand Prix. But hopefully a lot of action is going to be ahead of us in this race. Now, Japan, although it's a bit of a weird circuit, it's not too easy to overtake. There are still a good few opportunities that I'm sure everyone will really try to utilise. You know, the long, well, final half of this track, obviously very good for overtakes. Down in towards turn 1 and the hairpin. But here we are then on the grid, ready for the Japanese Grand Prix. It is 5 lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. Actually getting off to an absolutely horrific start there. Charlie Whiting wasting no time at all. Clearly he's got other things to be doing on his Sunday afternoons there, which means we're going to be absolutely near no one coming in towards turn 1 here. But not really many opportunities to try and overtake anyway. The AI tend to go 2x2 and don't really open up any opportunities for yourself here as we come through the S section. The left, the right, the left, the right, and the left once more here as we come through. You can see everyone 2x2, Van Dorn and Hartley pretty much giving me no opportunity to try and have a look up the inside. The Hartley actually runs wide though, and we do sniff up the inside of him and now move up into P19 of this race here. So we have been able to capitalise off the start, and I will certainly take that here on the end of lap 1 though, and actually be his teammate Pierre Gasly being sent into the wall through 130R here. The AI do tend to really struggle around this circuit. There's quite a few places where they make very weird errors there, but not the race Pierre Gasly would have wanted there, and that's unfortunately going to basically leave him out of the running unless we end up with a safety car here. So that's us up 2 places off the opening lap there. The team telling me that was a brilliant overtake when really, you know, we didn't even do anything, in all honesty there. But I think the less said about that, the better there, as we now move on to a lap 3, slowly closing it to the back of Stoffel Van Dorn here. Almost struggling in these early stages to sort of settle down into a rhythm here, but we are going to send a dive down the inside. Kobo, actually eat your heart out there, and we do get the car down the inside of Stoffel Van Dorn there, and we now move up into P16 of this Grand Prix. I think it was Marcus Ericsson that had a couple of issues and was dropping down the order as well here. Lap 5, and we've been now all over the back of K-Mag as well, so we might try and do what we did to Van Dorn just a couple of laps ago here, down into the wall, to the hairpin here, and you can just see how far back you're able to come from there, and we do go down the inside of K-Mag there, try to get the traction on the exit there, and now we move ourselves up into P15 of this race, and now we're all over the rear of my teammate Lance Stroll here. But we've got Grosjean, Alonso, and my teammate Lance Stroll here, all fighting by the end of lap 6 here, so hopefully we can try and capitalise on this. Lance is going to have a look down the inside of all 3 of them there. I think they're almost going 3 wide in towards turn 1 here. K-Mag is still all over my rear end there, but Lance does get down the inside. I have a huge moment going in towards turn 1 there, but we will be able to hold on. Unfortunately, lose the place to K-Mag here, but unfortunately we've got the rear tyres are massively overheating at this stage of the race, and as I've said many times before, there is nothing really you're going to be able to do against that here. We're still all over the back of K-Mag here. We're just trying to keep these tyres, slowly trying to bring those tyre temps back down ever so slightly, but as I said, you know, there is very little you can really do against it there. All over the back though of the Haas car here, you can see just how much they're all slowing each other down. Lance has pulled off a massively good move going through the S section there, and now we're going to have a look down the inside of K-Mag there. Unfortunately, lock up the rears and the fronts there. We do get, well, down the inside of both Magnussen and Fernando Alonso there. Not really too sure what we make of that one, but I'll certainly take the move in the end there, and 1 lap later we would dive it in to the pit lane here, ready for my 1 and hopefully only stop of this race onto a set of the mediums. Not able to take these softs as far as I would have liked, and now we're getting stuck in the pit lane here. Not really too sure what I make of that one. I think coders have changed around the way the pit lane works, so you can't just spam the upshift gear there, which has cost me a handful of time there as we now come down towards the end of the pit lane there. But yeah, that was very frustrating, but we will be now back out all the way down in P16, and now it's just a case of trying to bring these tyres right the way through to the end of this Grand Prix. Cold rubber as we exit the pit lane there. But now onto the end of lap 12, you can see we are now slowly but surely moving our way back up through the order to where we would roughly expect in this race, past K-Mag once more here, and Alonso is still behind me at this stage of the day here. So yeah, we are slowly but surely shifting ourselves back up to where we would expect in this race. A couple of drivers from inside the top 10 as well, probably going to have to go on 2-stop races as well here. But on to the end of lap 13 now, that is a huge moment as we come out of the final corner. But we are going to be able to move past Grosjean, I think, in the pit lane, but we will come back out just behind my teammate Lance Stroll here, and this is something that I really, you know, out of everyone on the grid, I really don't want to finish behind my teammate Lance Stroll here in this Japanese Grand Prix. So we're going to try and do everything within our power to get past my Williams teammate over these next couple of laps. You can see just losing the back end though over the curbs, really having to fight the rear of this car. You know, the curbs around Japan are absolutely deadly on the whole as well, which really does go to show how much we need to improve this chassis. So we have got a little bit of flexibility over them there. But down in towards the final chicane, the Casio triangle once more here. We're all over the back of my teammate Lance, going to try and capitalise on getting better traction on the exit of the corner. Use the one DRS zone that you do get around this Japanese Grand Prix circuit and flick the car up into overtake mode. Lance is going to go defensive in towards turn 1 here, right around the outside we go. Lance has given me a punt through the corner there. Not too sure what we make of that one there, but that's unfortunately going to drop me back down to P11 of this race there. Not exactly what I would have wanted there, and we picked up a 3-second time penalty as well there, and I'm not really too sure what Lance was thinking there. You know, we quite clearly were right around his outside. You know, I don't blame him for trying to keep the nose up the inside, but still, you know, to do it that aggressively, I was not a particularly big fan of there. But now, on to the end of lap 15. Once again, we're going to go for basically the same sort of move up the inside through 130 other, making sure there is no messing that time around. And now we move ourselves up into the points paying positions in this Japanese Grand Prix here, up now into P9 as we move on to lap 21, right around the outside of Carlos Sainz here. We were just slowly but surely closing up to the back of him, and not a particularly exciting overtake on the whole. But now on to the end of lap 21 here. You see we're now up into P7 as Esteban Ocon has unfortunately had to pull to the wayside there. You can see on the inside, on the right hand side of the circuit there. That is very unfortunate for the Force India driver there, but that is going to give us another place in this race. But we've got Bottas now all over the back of Carlos Sainz. He's going to try and send up the inside of turn 1 there, just about gets the front wing up my inside as well there. So we're going to be side by side coming out of the first corner into the S section there. We lose the back end, unfortunately completely shoved Bottas out wide there. That wasn't really my intent, but that curb on the inside is just so deadly there. But we will move back up into P7 of this race here, and now coming through in towards the front, well, down in towards Spoon here. We now got two cars parked. Sergio Perez on the outside, K-Mag on the inside there, and that's going to move us up into P16. They're both Force Indias out within one lap of each other there. I'm sure they will be very disappointed with that one there. I think K-Mag had a puncture and just completely got in the way of poor Sergio Perez though, so I'm sure he is not very happy with that one there. But that moves us up now into P6 of this race, and it is a perfect opportunity to capitalise on the Force Indias in the Constructors World Championship as well here. On to the end though of lap 25, and we were really struggling on these tyres to bring them through towards the end of this race there. Interesting lines through the Casio triangle, I will be the first to admit, but still we got Valtteri Bottas all over my rear end here. 2 laps to go of this race here. Remember, we've also got that time penalty there, and Bottas, well, he will be able to get down the inside, but not really going to be able to do anything defending in towards turn 1 there. Run horrifically deep through the corner as well there. But Carlos Sainz is about 2.5-3 seconds behind here, so we were hoping we were going to be able to hold that gap to him, but unfortunately through the final couple of laps of this race it just would not be the case, as Carlos just had a slightly better car throughout these final couple of laps of this Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel though will come through to take home the Japanese Grand Prix victory, will now be able to take the Drivers' Championship through in towards the USA here, which is obviously where famously he was able to take home his 5th world title last season out as well though, so I'm sure Kimi Raikkonen will look to try and claim that on the whole there. Lewis Hamilton I think will have come through for P2, there were Raikkonen P3, Charles Leclerc 4th, Daniel Ricciardo in P5, but Valtteri Bottas will come through for P6 here. Unfortunately for me, it will be P7 in the Japanese Grand Prix, but with that 3-second time penalty, we're unfortunately going to drop down to P8 after the Japanese Grand Prix, but I will certainly take 4 points after starting from the back.
Great effort there from Ferrari to take the victory today. So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari, on the top step once more.
So a bit of a weird race then in the end of the Japanese Grand Prix, but it would be Sebastian Vettel that would be able to claim the race victory there. Able to take 10 points out of his teammate there, but that does mean Kimi Räikkönen still has an 81-point lead in the Drivers' World Championship. So although there are plenty of opportunities for Seb, effectively he needs to win the US Grand Prix to guarantee that he's still in the Drivers' World Championship fight there. Lewis Hamilton, though, I think is now out. No, Lewis Hamilton is just about in it still as well. But Charles Leclerc, what a race for him, all the way up in P4. Danny Rick 5th, Valtteri Bottas in 6th on the 2-stop there. Sainz 7th, myself in 8th, not really too happy, obviously, with that penalty having an effect there in the end. But Lance Stroll 9th and Max Verstappen would round out the top 10 there on the 2-stop race as well. So yeah, certainly quite an interesting race on the whole. Ericsson, Alonso, Van Dorn, Hartley, Grosjean and Gasly would all finish outside the points there, with both Force Indias and Hulkenberg retiring and K-Mag getting a disqualification from that race there. But Raikkonen, yeah, as we said, an 82-point lead does still mean that there are 3 drivers, well, yeah, including Raikkonen, obviously 3 drivers still within a shot of the World Championship. But Bottas re-jumps me, Charles Leclerc re-jumps Max Verstappen. I never thought I'd say that this early on in this career mode here, but it does mean now we've got quite a tight little battle going into the final 4 rounds between Bottas, myself, Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, and Max Verstappen there. We drop all the way down to Fernando Alonso there, all the way down on 54 points there. But Ferrari, though, have now been able to wrap up the Constructors' World Championship. There is no way Mercedes are going to be able to close up to them overall, so I'm sure that's obviously where the big money lies, and I'm sure Ferrari will take that. But hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this video. Make sure you do like and subscribe if you're new around here as well, and you do want to see more of my F1 2018 Williams Road to Glory career mode as well. If you want to go check out my other 2 channels that will hopefully be linked on the screen right now, I would highly recommend doing so. The orange one is the orange one is online league racing content. The green one is daily Forza Horizon 4 content on a new channel that I'm working on at the moment. So it'd be greatly appreciated if you guys would subscribe to that. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Do not forget to like, subscribe if you're new around here as well, if we're trying to hit 10k at the moment. But I will see you guys next time for the US Grand Prix.